Welcome back to the mid-month character conversation. We are so glad you're here. These conversations are designed to give you something practical and meaningful you can carry into your leadership right away, whether you're leading a classroom, a team, or an entire school community. Today's conversation is a reflection of a recent interview with Lindy Walker, one of the podcast hosts for Storytellers Live. And she really gets to the heart of leadership and culture. It's the power of story, how the stories we tell, the ones we listen to, and the ones we carry shape the way we lead and connect with others.
And as we've reflected on this, a couple of ideas have really stayed with us that we want to share with you in this month's micro episode. The ideas sound simple, but they really can shift the way we show up in conversations with students, with staff, and with each other. And our hope today is that this conversation gives you a moment to pause, to reflect, and maybe even adjust how you're approaching the people in front of you. Lindy Walker shared a question that has stayed with me. She asked, "Where can I meet this person in this story?" And that question aligns so closely with something that I've believed for a long time and has been part of my leadership philosophy, and that is that you have to meet people where they are. But Lindy takes it a step further. It's not just about meeting someone where they are in that moment. It's about understanding the story that they're carrying into that moment. And I just thought that was awesome. So before we respond or redirect or even correct, it invites us to pause and to consider what might be shaping that reaction, what might be missing, and where the connection point really is. Because when we meet people in their story and not just their behavior, we lead differently. We find ourselves responding with more patience, more empathy, and really a greater sense of intention in how we show up. And over time, that's what builds trust. Ultimately, that's what builds culture.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me because it seems so cyclical. You know, it's that idea of when we're in a conversation, we want to put ourselves in other people's shoes, and that in and of itself builds trust, but it requires trust to do that too. So it's such an interesting cycle of building and connecting over and over again.
I love that, Laura.
One of the lines that Lindy shared that has really stuck with us is the idea that you share stories for intention, for attention. And that's such an important reminder in leadership, especially in roles like athletic leadership, where stories are constantly being told in locker rooms, on the field, in conversations with coaches and athletes. Those stories are powerful, but the goal isn't to impress people or draw attention to ourselves. It's to connect with others, to reinforce something, or to help others grow. I think it invites us to have just a quiet pause before we speak, to ask ourselves, why am I sharing this? Is it going to help me lead more effectively? Will it give our students and student athletes something to hold on to? And does it point back to the type of culture we're trying to build? Because we know when stories are shared with intention, they land differently. They build trust and clarity, and they remind people of what we stand for. And in spaces like athletics, where culture is felt just as much as it's taught, that kind of storytelling can shape people far more than a moment. It shapes people.
Yeah, I agree with that so much, Laura. And it really makes me think about servant leadership because you're not there to get attention for yourself. And the focus is not on what you do and are as the leader. It's about serving the people that's on your team. And so when you think about telling stories with intention, it just really takes me back to servant leadership and our purpose as leaders. I stepped away from Hoover in 2021, and I remember walking the halls in that time and just kind of feeling it. Nothing was wrong exactly, but something was different. And, there were fewer shared conversations in hallways. There was a little less energy in meetings. People were doing their jobs well, but really more in their own spaces. They were like silos, and it really wasn't anything dramatic. It was just kind of a quiet drift. And so what I came to realize through my work with Hope Institute and through those Leadership Academy sessions was that we had not abandoned our core values. We just hadn't been intentional about living them and naming them in the day-to-day. So when I returned in 2023, I didn't feel like we needed something new. It was actually an opportunity for course correction, because the truth is there are so many incredible and hardworking people at Hoover. They're people who care deeply, but like in so many schools, the calendars get full, the meetings were packed, and somewhere along the way, busy started to crowd out purposeful. And culture doesn't drift just because people stop caring. It drifts because people are carrying a lot. And so we paused and we asked a couple of questions, and that is, what are our core values and what actually matters right now. And then we went back to it. We made our values more visible. We talked about them more. We created space for connection again. It wasn't anything flashy. It was just more presence, more listening, and more intentional check-in. And it was, sounds simple, but not easy. And it reminded me of something that I think we all need to remember, and that's that culture is not built in those big moments. It's really built in those consistent human ones. And so when we shifted back to people and purpose, you could feel the difference.
What a powerful thing to think through as a leader, that what in my day or in my leadership, where are those places where busy is crowding out purpose? Like, what a great thing to pause and think through, because you're right. It's the consistency and the intentionality of purpose that really matters. Well, we have had such a powerful conversation with Lindy and with each other today. I hope you're walking away with something that you can carry into your leadership right now. Because the reality is, culture isn't built in big once-a-year moments, like Jennifer just said. It's built in these small, intentional choices that you make every single day. It's the stories you share and listen to. It's what you celebrate and what you tolerate. So as you head into the rest of your week and month, we want to challenge you. Be intentional to pay attention to the moments that matter. Lean into conversations and stories, and don't underestimate the impact you're having on the people around you. We thank you for being part of this month's Character Conversation. We're so glad you're here with us.
And as you lead this week, remember, you have an opportunity in every interaction to meet someone in their story. Don't miss it. And we'd love to hear how you're doing that. So connect with us. Share your takeaways. Follow along on Instagram. Our handle is @coc.podcast. We're cheering you on as we build cultures that truly matter. Have a great day, everyone.